meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab. Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
This man is the leader of the Third Reich, and the Nazi Party was single-handedly responsible for World War II and its atrocities. A mostly hated character in history because of his systematic genocide against Jews. He remains a figure of interest even today in cultural and philosophical studies. Here's the list of some of the top movies ever made based on this character. Do you know him? Yes, he's Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was an Austrian-born German politician. Adolf Hitler is the brain behind many of the World War II atrocities. It makes him one of the most hated personalities in history. Hitler lived from 1889 to 1945 and was responsible for the Nazi era in Germany. Pre-1939, sporting a short, stumpy toothbrush mustache and a grease-clad comb-over with a neat side parting was fine. Perhaps even a fashion statement reminiscent of the all-singing, all-dancing Hollywood star Charlie Chaplin or the melancholic writer Ernest Hemingway. Sadly, that once classic and stoic look died a slow and painful death, not through the administration of cyanide like its wearer, but by its association with one of the cruelest, evilest, and most despicable men who have ever lived. The life of Hitler, his meteoric rise, and equally visible fall have been documented in many films. Here's the list of some of the top Adolf Hitler movies ever made. Number 10. Look Who's Back 2015. The film, originally titled Erst Weiter die, is a 2015 dramatic comedy. Directed by David Nett, the film follows Hitler's resurrection in 2014 and the comic sequence that follows. The film parodies the Nazi perspective in the modern world but shows a somber aspect of existence of hyper-nationalist sentiments, which would continue its support for Hitler. The interactions between Hitler and the common public serve as the primary fodder for humor, and the director intersperses scenes where Oliver Masucci dressed as Hitler and the character actually interacts with the public. The film overall creates a humorous effect and is a good take on how Hitler would be received in today's world. Valkyrie 2008. Number 9 in our list is directed by Bryan Singer. This film stars Tom Cruise as Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg. Klaus came closest to assassinating Hitler and arranging a coup to overthrow the Nazi Party. The film received lukewarm appreciation and acceptance. However, the film focuses on the number of assassination attempts on Hitler's life and how he managed to overcome them. A fast-paced and tense film, it holds the tension even though the audience is painfully aware of the results beforehand. That in itself speaks to Singer's directorial talent. The actors deliver powerful performances and make the film a thoroughly enjoyable one. Number 8. Manhunt 1941. Directed by Fritz Lang, this film starts and ends with direct references to Hitler. The plot of the film, however, focuses mostly on a British big-game hunter as he attempts to evade the authorities on a suspected charge of him wanting to kill Hitler. The movie starts with a chilling scene where the hunter has Hitler in his scope and pulls the trigger and waves. He then enters a live round into the chamber and decides to take another shot but is interrupted. The film's ending shows the hunter having joined the RAF undertaking a similar mission to presumably finish the job. The film portrays the intense desire and toying of minds with Hitler's death, an aspect that was common during the World War II era in European cinema. Fritz Lang directs the movie wonderfully, and events are set against the backdrop of the escalating situation in Europe and the rise of Nazi power. Number 7. The Bunker 1981. The film, directed by George Schaffer, is borrowed from James P. O'Donnell's book The Bunker. The film makes use of shifting points of view and uses the creative license to bring forth views of characters who weren't interviewed, including Hitler's cook and Dr. Werner Haas. Furthermore, the film controversially undercuts the relationship between Hitler and Speer, slightly likening it with the Jesus Judas portrayal. Despite the controversies, the film itself is a thorough, invigorating watch and provides a different perspective to the after-produced last days of Hitler. Number 6. Triumph of the Will, 1935. This film, also known as Triumph the Willen, is perhaps the greatest propaganda film made. The movie is also Leni Riefenstahl's best work. The cinematic techniques used in The Victory of Faith and this film are remarkably similar. Recording the 1934 Nazi Congress in Nuremberg, the film juxtaposes scenes of the military marches with speeches from high officials of the Nazi Party. Lenny makes use of various cinematic techniques like long focus lenses and aerial photography, techniques which would go on to become foundational for the making of documentaries and also played an important role in shaping cinematic shot techniques as a whole. Her revolutionary approach to music and cinematography is evident in this movie, as Lenny effortlessly portrays the Nazi propaganda of Germany emerging as a powerful nation under Hitler. Number 5. The Victory of Faith, 1933. Better known as Der Sieg des Glaubens, this film is the first propaganda film to be directed by Leni Riefenstahl. The propaganda films serve as an interesting contrast to the films made about Hitler, since most films that came after his demise demonized the man and showed him in the terrifying capacity of power. The propaganda films, on the contrary, which show Hitler's rise to power, peppered with fond adoration of Lenin's film, which follows the chronological order of sequences of the 1933 Nuremberg rally of the Nazi Party, is purely a propaganda movie, which was funded by the Nazis. However, the value of this film is evident in the fact that it shows Hitler to be on close terms with Ernst Röhm, a man who would later be assassinated on Hitler's order. The only copy of the film turned up in 1990 in the UK after Hitler had ordered the destruction of all copies. Lenin's propaganda film cannot be doubted on the grounds of authenticity and provides a refreshing take on a man who enjoyed tremendous support from different quarters of his country. Number 4. Inglorious Bastards, 2009. Directed by Quentin Tarantino, this movie delivered on its promise. It was unlike any war movie we'd ever seen. While the plot itself doesn't deal directly with Hitler, it focuses on the fight against Nazi occupation in Paris. The film, however, borrows on the trope of fascination with Hitler's death and the culture of anti-propaganda films where Hitler would be killed off in the most imaginative ways possible. Tarantino indulges in this where the climax of the film occurs in the burning movie theater where Hitler is gunned down and burned. Modern-day film by all means, it harkens back to the time of Hitler's power and gives a brilliant portrayal of the man's sense of grandness and the rage and fear with which the public looked at him. Number 3. The Last 10 Days, 1955. Directed by George Wilhelm Pabst, this Austrian-German film follows a simple enough plot. It recounts the last 10 days of Hitler's life from his birthday to his suicide. The plot, which is similar to a lot of movies made about Hitler, is in itself not unique. However, what sets this film apart is the role played by Albin Skoda. Skoda plays Hitler, making this 1955 film the first movie in post-World War II Germany to feature the character of Adolf Hitler. The film presents a terrifyingly realistic portrait of Hitler's last few days, and in the process becomes the first film in a long chain of films that would express fascination with the dictator's life. Number 2. The Great Dictator 1940. Movies about Hitler aren't usually supposed to be funny, but trust Charlie Chaplin to take up the task. In a scathing satire which is perhaps Chaplin's best work, he criticizes fascism, characters of both Hitler and Mussolini, and the persecution of Jews. This is Chaplin's first major sound film contrary to his previous silent movies. Chaplin's portrayal of Jewish barber persecuted by Adolf Heinkel, Adolf Hitler, is powerful and reverberates in his last speech when the barber, who is ironically Heinkel's lookalike, gets up on the podium to make a speech. The speech is satirized by Chaplin, and contrary to Hitler's divisive and polarizing speeches, Chaplin calls for democracy, unity, and brotherhood. The Great Dictator serves as a valuable example of satire and remains one of the most daring takes on Hitler. And finally, number 1 and the best movie about Adolf Hitler in this top 10 list is Downfall 2004. The film, titled Der Untergang, was directed by Oliver Hirschbiegel and happened to be nominated for the Academy Award for the Best Foreign Picture. The film itself focuses on the last 10 days of Hitler's life and the fall of the Third Reich. Bruno Ganz delivers a powerful performance as Adolf Hitler in his last days, adamant in the face of potential defeat. The narrative pace effectively captures the delusions of grandeur that Hitler holds on till the very end and undercuts it at the same time with the tension of the advancement of the Red Army. Desertion, rage, defeat all culminates in Hitler's bunker towards a powerful cinematic conclusion. At the end, thank you very much for watching this video. Which of these movies about Adolf Hitler is your favorite one? Please write it down in the comments below. And please do not forget to support us by subscribing to our channel. Many people showed interest in World War II and the personalities involved. The fascination spans generations. The top 10 best Adolf Hitler movies in this video shows the rise and fall of a dictator. The dive into his last few days and the probable reasons for his evil ways. These films are a good way of consuming history and creating awareness about the worst atrocities of all.